Welcome to the Closet Calvinist podcast. Some Christians have an inner Calvinist in them and don't even realize it. We will try to bring out the inner Calvinist that may be in you out of the closet. Here is your host, Mike G.
Welcome back to the Closet Calvinist podcast. This is episode 33. And one of the most frequently quoted verses against the doctrine of irresistible grace is Matthew 23, verse 37. O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, how often would I have gathered your children together as a hen gathers her brood under her wings, and you were not willing. Many read this and conclude that Jesus wanted to save them, but they resisted. Therefore, grace can be successfully resisted. But is that what the passage actually teaches? In this episode, we're going to examine the context, the audience, the grammar, and the broader teaching of Scripture to answer one question. And that's, does Matthew 23:37 refute irresistible grace? Before addressing the verse, we need clarity. Irresistible grace does not teach, 1, that sinners are dragged to Christ against their will, 2, that people are saved unwillingly, and 3, that God forces belief. It teaches this: when God regenerates a sinner, He changes the heart so that the sinner willingly and gladly comes to Christ. In John 6, verse 37, Jesus says, all that the Father gives me will come to me. Not might come, not could come, but will come. Psalm 110, verse 3, your people will offer themselves freely on the day of your power. Grace does not violate the will. It liberates the will. Matthew 23 is not an evangelistic appeal. It is a chapter of woes pronounced against the scribes and Pharisees. Matthew 23:13 says, but woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you shut the kingdom of heaven in people's faces. Jesus is condemning the leaders who, 1, reject him, 2, oppose him, and 3, prevent others from coming. That context is essential when we reach verse 37. Look carefully at the wording. Matthew 23:37. How often would I have gathered your children together, and you were not willing? Notice, your children, and you were not willing. The you refers to Jerusalem's leaders, especially the scribes and Pharisees. The children refers to the people under their influence. Jesus is saying, I desired to gather the people, but your leaders resisted and opposed me. This fits perfectly with earlier verses in the chapter. Matthew 23, verse 13. You neither enter yourselves nor allow those who would enter to go in. The leaders are guilty of resistance and obstruction. This passage describes human rebellion, not divine impotence. Some argue Jesus wanted to gather them, but he couldn't. Their will overpowered his. But that interpretation collides with the rest of Scripture. John 6, verses 38 and 39. For I have come down from heaven not to do my own will, but the will of him who sent me, that I should lose nothing of all that he has given me. Christ does not fail to save those given to him. John 10, verses 27 and 28. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me, and they will never perish. If Matthew 23, verse 37 meant Jesus' saving will can be thwarted, these passages would be false. But they are not. Matthew 23:37 reveals Christ's compassion, not a frustrated decree. Scripture distinguishes between 1, God's revealed will, what he commands and delights in, and 2, God's sovereign decree, what he ultimately brings to pass. Ezekiel 33:11 says, I have no pleasure in the death of the wicked. Yet Scripture also says, Romans 9, verse 18, so then he has mercy on whom he wills, and he hardens whomever he wills. God's compassion is real. Human resistance is real, but God's sovereign saving purpose still stands. Well, what about human resistance? Matthew 23:37 absolutely teaches that humans resist God, but irresistible grace has never denied that. Romans 8, verses 7 and 8. The mind that is set on the flesh is hostile to God. Indeed, it cannot. Natural man resists. Natural man cannot submit. The question is not whether man resists. The question is, can God overcome that resistance? John 6, verse 44. No one can come to me unless the Father who sent me draws him. In John 6, verse 45, everyone who has heard and learned from the Father comes to me. When God effectually calls, the sinner comes. Now this verse proves religious leaders can oppose Christ. Humans resist God's revealed will. Judgment is just. Christ has genuine compassion. But what it does not prove, that grace fails, that Christ loses his sheep, that man's will overrides God's saving purpose. Romans 9, verse 16, so then it depends not on human will or exertion, but on God, who has mercy. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Closet Calvinist podcast. May God richly bless your life. Grace and peace to you all.
Thank you for listening to the Closet Calvinist podcast. If you have any questions, then please contact us at our email, mikeg@theclosetcalvinist.com, or visit our website at www.theclosetcalvinist.com.